All right, welcome back to Fusion Friday. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to create this shape right here. And then we are going to explore the drawing section of Fusion. And recreate all of these dimensions that you have already listed. I've already created the shape shown in that picture, so that will be something that you do on your own. And then once you are satisfied with the shape itself, what you do is up here in the top left, right now it says that your workspace is in the design space. If you click on that and then go down to drawing from design, it'll highlight your model. And then over here, we can create a new drawing. Okay, for right now, you can just leave all of these settings the same. And then if you click OK, you'll see that Fusion will now open up a new tab and bring you into this new space where you have your object kind of floating around, and then this kind of blank sheet for you to add in multiple views. So it should default to put you on one of your views. If you just click once, and I'm going to actually hide, you can change whether you want the orientation to be the front, the top, the right, the left view, any view that you want. And you could say, I want visible edges shown, hidden lines. You can have it shaded in, shaded with hidden lines, and you can change really all of these features as you need to. But for now, I'm just going to turn visible edges on only for my part and then click OK. So now you see you've got your front-facing view. To get other views into your part, up here, you could see there's a couple of options for your base view, projected view, auxiliary view, etc. What I want to do is I want to add a projected view of my shape. So if I click projected view and then click on the little black box, you'll see that now I can kind of move my shape to the right or to the left. I'm going to move my shape to the right and just add a view there. And I also, if you go, so you can go up, down, left, right. And to get an isometric, you just kind of have to go down out to the side there. So I'm going to add this isometric view, click check, and now I have my right view and I have my isometric view. So I want to actually take this, and I'm just going to put this right up here for right now. And if you double click on one of the views you already placed, you can change it so that now this one, maybe this one I want to be shaded in, since that one's my full part. And this one, I want to show the hidden lines so I could see that they go all the way through, that those holes go all the way through my part. The last thing that we want to do when finding our views is we want to add a view that represents this little angled surface so we can take accurate dimensions straight from that view. Because if we try to take it from this top view, it looks a little funky. So what we have to do is we have to add what's called an auxiliary view. What that does is it creates a new surface for your drawing to reference. So if you click on auxiliary view and then you just kind of click this little slanted line there, you'll see that you can project an auxiliary view that goes up. And I'm actually going to start by having it go down to the left. Click OK. And then I'm also going to hide the hidden lines on this one because it gets a little messy. But now that I have that, click close, and then you could just kind of click, hold, and drag your part all the way up there. So now you see we've got our front view, our right view, and this kind of auxiliary view showing us this top surface. So what we want to do now is just start adding in the dimensions as they're shown. For this front view, I'm just going to start with that. We're going to take our dimension tool, and if you just click once on the line you want to dimension, drag it out, you see we've got that 4, click again, and then you've got your dimension. The only thing, right now, this only shows the 4. We want to actually have our drawings show that 4.00 as in the dimensions. So we'll click on that. If you just double click on the actual 4 number, you can come over here and alter the properties a little bit. So our dimensions are in millimeters, our linear precision is 2 decimal places, and then down here, you can add your trailing zeros, which are any zeros that go behind it. So if we click that, Now you'll see our dimension is 0.4 or 4.00. Close that, and now we've got that. So we'll just do that same process, and we'll go through all of the other dimensions that are shown on the front view. So we got our bottom to this circle is 3. Our bottom to this bottom circle is 1. We could go ahead and change these to show our trailing zeros. Okay, and then we have from here to here. So something that you'll notice right here, this one only goes to 0.63, but we want that to be 0.625. So to change that, what you do is you double click on it, and over here, this is where you change your linear precision from 2 decimal places to 3 decimal places behind it. Then if you click close, now you'll see you've got your dimension fully represented. And so we'll just keep adding the rest of our dimensions. We've got 1.88, and we'll have to change that one to also reflect the correct linear precision. So we'll click on that, change this to change this to 3 decimals, and then we'll add this one, and we'll add our trailing zeros. Perfect. So we've got all that, which is great. Now the last thing that we need is we need a call out for these 4 holes. So for holes, right, for the holes there, it's actually easier to add what's called a text leader note to these to call out all 4 holes at once. So if we click on up here in the text, we can add like text notes, leader notes, etc. So I'm going to click on my leader note, and then if I go scroll over where the little hole goes, I can just click on that, and then it adds this little arrow that kind of points out like a diameter would. And then you could actually just type right in this little text box 4 times, and then to get the diameter symbol over here on the right, you could click on symbols and then click on diameter, and then it just inserts that diameter exactly as you need it. Click again to keep typing, and then we have at 0.50. And then if we just click close, now we've got a call out pointing to all 4 of those holes. So we only need that one dimension for all 4 of those holes. And that's everything on our front view. Now let's move over to our side view here. And the side view really only has 3 dimensions. We just need the thickness of this one, the thickness down here, and then lastly, we need an angular dimension. So what we have to do is under here in dimensions, we have to select angular dimension. So click on dimensions, angular dimension, and then if we click those 2 lines, we can add that 135-degree angle. Same thing, we just got to edit these 2 dimensions to have a linear precision of 3 decimal places. Perfect. So now we've got the front view, we've got the side view all dimensioned out. Now let's look over at our auxiliary view. All right, so now to dimension the auxiliary view, we need to start with our little dimension that is 2.5 across the entire length. Now, auxiliary views can be a little tricky, and sometimes the dimensions don't work. So if you ever try to dimension something and it just doesn't work, like if I start from the top, go down, sometimes you might get like a weird little dimension. So just change your starting point if that happens. So I'm going to start from the bottom and then go to the top, and now I can add that 2.5 dimension in there. The next one I need is a dimension from the center of the circle to the bottom, which is 1.25, and then the center of the circle to the side, which again, it's being a little funky, so I'm going to measure it from this side. And now we can show that 1.25. Okay. Now we need the diameter of the circle, which is just a nice round 1. And I'm going to kind of put that off to the side there. And then finally, we need our radius for the side piece there. Radius of 0.5. If you just hover over and click on it, Fusion will detect that you're trying to click on that radius. Click again, and then we're good. And the last thing we have to do is just change our linear precision for these dimensions too. So we'll add the trailing zeros behind those. We'll add the trailing zeros behind those. And the trailing zeros behind this one. Okay, and that's really it for putting your dimensions in there. Now we've got our three views that we need with all of the dimensions that are shown there, so we can accurately recreate this part. You'll notice down here, something that I like to do is to actually put some information down here in this little text box. So if you just double click on one of these boxes, you can change this to edit it to be whatever you want. So for down here in your title, you can leave this created by you. Just make your title Engineering 1 Fusion Friday 3, same way you would with all the other ones. And then something else that I like to do is I actually like to put a little isometric right in this spot right here. So I can look at that and just instantly know what is on this page. So to do that, I'm just going to create another projected view from my shape right there, drag it off to the side. And in order to get it to fit inside of this little box, I have to adjust the scale. So if I double click on my shape, up here, you can change the scale. So I'm going to make it, right now it's 10:1 because this is a really tiny object. So I'm going to try shrinking it down to 5:1. And now it's a lot smaller. Now it'll be able to fit into that little box, no problem. So I'll click close, drag it out into the little box, and then we are good to go. So that's a little bit about the drawing space in Fusion 360.